Hello, beautiful alchemist. Welcome to Reiki Radio. I am your host, Yolanda. And today I had the opportunity to have a wonderful conversation with one of my teachers, Frank Arjava Petter. And it's always fun for me to have conversations with my teachers that are not planned. I feel like here on the podcast, when I have the opportunity to sit with them, it's kind of like having a private conversation with them over coffee, and you just get to be in on it in some way. But I do ask questions, of course, that I think will support you in your path and be of interest to you. But Arjava and I had a wonderful conversation, which you will hear in just a moment. But I want to make sure that you know a little bit about him before we begin. So, Frank Arjava Petter is a German author and workshop facilitator who is best known for his internationally best selling books on the history of Reiki and its practice. Arjava's books have been translated into 22 different languages. He has taught Reiki to thousands of students in Europe, North America, Asia, Australia, and Africa. Besides Reiki, he also practices and teaches meditation, as well as the therapeutic practice of family constellations. Arjava lives in Greece with his two children and his wife, and they run a retreat center and an organic olive farm. So if you would like to learn more about Arjava and his work or to connect with him, go to his website, frankarjavapetter.com. You can also follow him on Facebook and Instagram. You can type in Frank Arjava Petter or Arjava and see if he comes up. I will find the links and put it down in the show description along with the website link. So that is all for now. Get comfortable and enjoy the conversation. I will see you on the other side. So, we are here with one of my favorite people on the planet, Frank Arjava Petter. I am so curious, as I was telling you before, just to one, I'm happy to see you. It feels like it's been a very long time. But I have been so curious about where you are, what's going on in life, and how you are seeing things now that so much has changed. So, first, just welcome. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Yolanda. Same here. I wish we were living close by and we could have this conversation in person.
Yeah.
Have the same cup of tea. I have one of my own here. But this is better than nothing. And if you're wondering where I am, maybe you notice my eyes are like this because I just sat and closed my eyes for an hour, did nothing. So I'm still in kind of a meditative, introverted, reflective space, but I think I can still manage to talk. So at the moment, if you ask me where I am, I'm in front of a turquoise wall.
That's perfect. It's funny. You say that, it reminds me of how I was telling you I'm trying not to plan too much this year and kind of just take it one moment at a time. And that makes me think of how much you used to travel around and, you seemed like you were, in a lot of ways, living in a suitcase. And now, with some changes that you've made, I've been curious about how that has impacted, your practice, your work, just you as a person. How has it been with things being altered in some ways?
I think that it may have to do with the seasons. Winter time when all the juices kind of go in and it's time to reflect and see where you are and see who you are and get in touch with your essence again. So this is kind of what's been happening for me. I haven't had any work for a few months and there won't be any for another few months. So I've been just diving deeply into all sorts of creative projects and doing kind of inventory. How am I,
Yeah.
what's going on? Am I content with myself? Am I getting enough nourishment?
Yeah.
Am I, insecure about the future? And of course, I'm all of the what I just said, a little bit insecure because I see there's no work, there's no income, and we don't have any money behind us. But basically, I just always trust that whatever happens in your life is your life,
Yeah.
is you. And there is something holding their hand above our head and taking care of us. I trust it. So this is nice. And the other nice thing is I'm getting a lot of creative things done, lots of different book projects, different subjects. There'll be hopefully a new Reiki book coming out soon, a practical treatment guide. I've been working on that for a long time.
Yeah.
And then a couple of volumes of short stories and also something on the current political situation. So all different kind of things. Yeah? But behind and beyond all of that, I'm just looking at something I wrote here recently on my desk, is keeping the mind, arresting the mind in the present. So this is the practice. And for me in Reiki, this is the practice, always keeping the mind here as much as you can in the present moment with whatever is happening, good, bad, in between, doesn't matter. Just be present.
I'm really glad you bring this up, Arjava, because I think a lot of times there's a fear of slowing down and there's a fear of having the self-reflection that you're talking about, right? Because there's a lot that then not only we become aware of, but I think even unconsciously or conditioning, whatever it is, we're so used to maybe being busy not to think or not to be present, not to see and feel and all of these things. And it's interesting, even coming from the lens, someone like you, we know that even when you were, busy and traveling and these things, you were still very immersed in your practices. But now, as you say, are you discovering different parts of yourself? Is there a lot of reflection of even things that have been unexpected to you that are coming into your awareness now?
For me, my whole life I've been finding out more and more things about myself.
Yeah,
It's not that at some point of time I got some kind of experience, boom, and suddenly I know everything. It's not like that, not at all.
yeah,
I think the Japanese idea of self-realization is, I like it very much. It's not like a finished product, but it's a process that maybe you can describe as the flowering of the opening of the petals of some rose flower or a lotus flower or something. So it's not boom, there it is, but
yeah,
it's like one after the other and more and more. And you keep finding yourself in that process more and more. And now that I have lots of time at home with my family, which is great fun, and with myself and quietly, of
yeah.
course, I discover all sorts of things and all sorts of things that I need for my nourishment. Meanwhile, I have found the thing I wanted to share with you. It's a Japanese character. I just wrote it for another project, and that's this.
Okay.
Many of you who practice Reiki, you probably are familiar with that. This character is called Nen,
Then,
and Nen is made out of two kanji, two Chinese characters. The first one is now and also today. So it means now and today. And the second one is the heart, and the heart and the mind are kokoro, that are here. So heart and mind are here. That's it describes the heart and mind that is uncontaminated by past events and in the present.
Yeah.
So in a way, for me, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, this is really interesting because that's been coming up a lot lately. And I wonder if you can share from what you've learned and also just your personal point of view and experience, the idea of heart mind. And we hear it again and again, in the studying of Reiki and the idea that they are one and the same. The reason this, I think, is so interesting now is because we've lived so much just in the head. And right now, it seems like because of all that's going on in the world, if we don't start coming into the heart intelligence as in relationship to the mind, we're going to be in big trouble. So, could you tell us a little bit more about that, even that idea of heart mind, but then also the piece of the purified, not the the way that we would pick and choose, perhaps, what deserves love?
Yeah, that's an incredible subject, really. So I find it strange that we think of ourselves as body, heart, and mind
Mm,
and soul, three or four different things. If you consider an apple or an orange or a pear, you would never do such a thing. You would never divide it in first the outer skin and then the small membrane like the orange has in between the skin and
mhm,
the in between the outer skin and the fruit and then the seeds inside. You would never think of them as separate things. You would think of the whole thing as an orange. And essentially, really, we are the same. We are not obviously not made up only of our heart, our emotional capacity,
mhm,
not only our mind, not only the body, not only the whatever it is that we can't describe it is beyond all of that, but we are all of that in one piece. So the distinction of dividing yourself into part A, B, and C for scientific purposes, maybe it's all right. But when looking at yourself, it's not helpful because you start to feel pulled apart into all these different sections. Yeah? The heart says this, the mind says that, but if really it's all exactly one. There is no we create that division out of fear, out of insecurity, out of the lack of, if I say self-confidence, it can be misunderstood. Like, but self-confidence in the sense of you as a perfect being.
yeah. Yeah.
So we think deep down, I think everybody. And I just discovered that again during my meditation, just before we start to talk. I was sitting and doing some breathing exercises, breathing in air and energy to the top of my head and filling up the body with all this stuff. And while I'm sitting, suddenly I think, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to be something other than what you are? Why are you trying to, what kind of goal do you have?
Mm,
Stop it. Yeah? So and then the last maybe half an hour or so, I just said, doing absolutely nothing at all, just being,
yeah.
not trying to be different than I am. So I think this is the underlying sickness or the underlying pain that we have, that we deep down we think that we're not good enough as we are. And
Hmm.
that's why we hanker for something in the future that will never come closer to us by definition because we are placing it here. And that's why we divide ourselves into all these different kinds of parts. Also, we divide ourselves into the conscious, the subconscious, the collective conscious. Always division, 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 but we're all of that in one great big package. And it's time to, instead of dividing ourselves, and in politics, in the what's happening in the world, we're doing the same thing. Yeah? Always division. I like this, I don't like that. One is left wing, one is right wing. We have to stop this
Yeah.
and understand that we are not metaphorically speaking, not philosophically speaking, not spiritually speaking, we are one and the same. If you extend that image, and I think we have talked about this previously in another podcast, if you were to fly on a space mission and at some point you see the curvature of the earth, and then sometime later you see the whole thing, the whole planet. What do you see? You don't see countries, you don't see races, you don't see gender, you don't see opinions, you don't see religions, nothing. You don't see countries, nothing. You see one big celestial body, and when you put yourself in your position, which is somewhere on planet Earth at the time, you are there wherever you are, I am here wherever I am. We are a part, like a cell, if we were to look at it from beyond. We are a cell of this big celestial body, and we cannot be separate from that. It's
Can
not
I
possible.
ask you, because what you're saying reminds me of a couple of different things that, okay, I want to back up and tell you this first. So it's funny what you're saying reminds me of yesterday when went to sit for my meditation. And sometimes when I sit, it's like as soon as I close my eyes, I just lose myself. But there are other times I sit and it takes a moment to kind of, I don't know, get out of my head perhaps. And yesterday, I don't remember the state I was in, but essentially this awareness came in of almost comparing it like, why are you trying? It would be like stepping into a pool of water and begging for the water to wet your body. Like you're
But you,
in it.
yeah.
It was,
Same, same was the same feeling I had today. What are
yeah,
you trying to do? And it's not that we do this while we're meditating. We're doing it all day long,
right. Yeah.
all day long, trying to drink the water that we are floating in, making it very difficult
Yes.
and big deal at the same time. Oh, wow, I'm a spiritual person, I'm on a spiritual journey. Wow, incredible. It's nothing.
Well,
It's
okay. So this points to what I wanted to ask you about as well. Because I always, whenever people ask me about, Reiki and my thoughts or what my journey with this is or how it started and all of these things. And I always acknowledge I'm thankful for every teacher that I've had. I mean, regardless if my perspective or point of view is in alignment with them or not, I still appreciate whatever it was that was presented to me and what it made me at least think about these sorts of things. But I always say when I came to your class, it was um it was very strange because it gave me a totally different lens on what I had learned prior. And with that, I reflect a lot on what you teach and how you teach in the lens from a very, more traditional. I mean, you lived in Japan, you studied there, and not just understanding the practice or the system of Reiki, even the cultural understanding that you've learned over the years. So you really do point, I'll say you point to a lot of things. And you might not say everything overtly, but you do point to a lot of things. And so in these years of studying and remembering and reflecting and all, I think of how everything you're talking about, the system really points to everything. I mean, from the symbols to the Gokai to laying of hand, nothing is not pointing to this oneness. Everything in the system is pointing to it in one way or another, or even highlighting how we may perceive duality, but how to come out of the illusion of this. Yeah. And it's so interesting to me. And again, I think it's incredible that Reiki is so popular. I think it's incredible that it's in hospitals and hospice and all the different ways people use it. I think it's incredible. Thank goodness, right? But then there's also a part of me that wonders, why isn't that spoken about more blatantly? Like, why isn't that piece of what we could get from it individually, if we really came in and sat with it and observed all of these different aspects of it, keeps saying the same thing over and over again? Why isn't that louder?
I think all the spiritual disciplines in the end are all the same. They're all
Right.
pointing that same thing, the oneness of you with everyone and everything.
Hmm.
That's the whole point of spirituality. Not only in Reiki,
Right.
everywhere. Same. Everybody's talking about the same thing over and over and over again. But it requires hard work to deconstruct or demolish the mental construct that we have made of ourselves, our opinions, our religions, our philosophies, who we think we are. And this is an uncomfortable process. I once wrote a short story. It's about somebody who's pulling out all the electric lines in his house and putting in new electric system. This is about the spiritual search.
Mm.
This is what you do. You have to pull everything out of the wall and put all new pipes in there. And that hurts. And that's why not so many people would be interested in doing it, because it's really hard work to basically destroy yourself piece by piece.
Yeah.
Destroy the falsity in yourself to, in the end, hopefully, only see
Yeah.
the beauty, the love, the transcendence. And when you were talking about feeling grateful to your teachers, I'm the same. I've had so many really good teachers. But the ones who've taught me maybe the most in my life were the enemies. I don't mean enemies, just as a matter of speech, but
Yeah.
people I was in conflict in. In conflict, I learned the most. And from conflicts with people, I learned the most. I don't want to miss it.
Hmm.
It's beautiful. And in terms of all the, let's say, the Reiki techniques, the Reiki philosophy, the Reiki spiritual Japanese background, and all of that, okay, I taught a lot of it, and I still teach a lot of that. And I can because I've spent so much time there and I know it from the inside out.
Right.
But nowadays, in the last year or so, I'm also deconstructing all of that within myself
Yeah.
in a way, in a way, not out of disrespect or I think,
Right.
wow, this is so good or I wasted my time, not at all, but to really take that big building apart to see the essence of it at
Right.
the center.
See, that's the part I think we need right now. You know, it's so interesting to me, and I think that's why it stays heavy on my mind. Because I honestly, I just said this in a different conversation not that long ago, and the woman who was interviewing me, she said, "Oh yes, and blah blah blah, Reiki master." And I was like, "Ugh." I said, "I actually cringe with that, to be quite honest, just because of the connotation and what a lot of people's ideas are around that and what that means. And it's just not my thing, the labeling of this. However, I understand that titles help people have an understanding of whatever your interest may be, or these sorts of things. But I do think, again, it just seems, because of, especially now, what's going on, it seems like it would be so beneficial if people really did have more of a insight or awareness or conversation even about that inner peace, not the outer shell of what people have come to know it to be, but really the inner peace. I think so many of us, I mean, we need that now. And it kind of loops back to even what you were saying before, this self-reflectiveness. We need to unplug the wires at this point. I mean, it's like we need to, you know? So even listening to you say this, I think of, wow, I would love to come out to Greece to the Reiki dojo. But honestly, what I would love to learn is going deeper into that, like the inner part that is not as frequently spoken about, even
Mm.
blended in with other things that you've studied. Just like you say, it's all pointing to the same thing. So then what are the practices, the whatever helps us just go deeper into that's what I hope becomes more prominent now.
That would be very cool. That would be very, very cool. I remember years ago, somebody who was involved with these peace poles, that are placed all over
Yeah.
the earth, asked me if they knew I was going to Japan, and they asked me if I would ask the abbess of the Kulama temple if a peace pole could be placed there. And I said, okay, I will do it, but I think I already know what she's going to say. So I talked to her. I said, I've been asked this, and what do you say? And she said, look, peace cannot be decided from somewhere, from the top, from the outside, but it must grow from within,
Hmm.
yeah, from you. So it starts with you. On the Usui Memorial, it says something like, we must start at home. Yeah, that doesn't really mean at home in your house, but here.
Right.
You must start here. The transformation must start here. And that needs constant awareness and disciplining your mind to work on yourself, to look inside, to reflect, to check, is this really me? Who is speaking here?
Right.
Is that just my conditioning speaking, my country speaking, my religious speaking, or is it really me? What is real? Who am I? This is the central question of all. So if you are involved in that, but not in an egoistic way,
Yes. Yeah.
but in a humble and kind way, yeah, then this quest for finding yourself, which is really finding peace, finding harmony, finding love, all of those good things that can then spread in your immediate environment. If you have a partner, into your partnership, if you have kids, into the family, to your parents, and then from there on to the supermarket, to the bank, to the football stadium, to the rock concert, everywhere. But the beginning is here, and the big question that people have been asking themselves for thousands, possibly millions of years, is how do I do it?
Right.
How do I get there? And from my point of view, one way that helps me, I don't, it's not for everybody, but
Right.
one way that helps me is to spend an hour every day sitting in meditation. I've been doing it for almost 50 years.
Mm.
So to spend time with yourself. And what I do is first of all, I go through my body, yeah? My right arm, my left arm, my right leg, my left leg, then either the whole body or sometimes I go through all the different inner organs, then the head, the brain, the eyes, everything. Yeah? I visit those places and I check in with them and check, hey, how are you doing? You know, how's the liver doing? Did you like the whiskey yesterday? Oh, no? Oh, okay. And this is what I do every day. And then I sit quietly after I've checked in with myself, really, and to see if I'm comfortable, if I'm getting all the nourishment I need to get, if there's something I need to change, if there's tension, and if I find that there's tension, where does it come from? And can I do something to let it go? But I don't do this like a psychologist, but more like somebody who's asking for directions, you know, who's
Yeah.
somewhere lost and says, hey, which way is to Washington, D.C.? And somebody says, oh, it's this way. Yeah? Like that, casually. And
Hmm.
if they say, sorry, man, I'm a tourist, I don't know, that's all right. Yeah? So I check in with myself, checking how I'm doing. And when I do, there is no distinction between thought and mind.
Yeah.
Yeah? So this is in answer to how can we stop dividing ourselves into, yes, I feel yes, but I think no, or vice versa. Because when you look inside, there are not two, there is one. Right?
Yeah.
It's one process. They come like a twin flame, they come out together. And
And
then I sit quietly for about an hour, and we often do meditation camps where we sit for either a weekend or a whole week. We do it every year, and it's for me, it's so beneficial
you
to do it.
facilitate that?
Yeah,
Okay.
we've been doing it every year here, and um, because we're kind of far away, we usually do in the summer. Because we're far away, sometimes there are not many people who join us. Yesterday, somebody called me and said, are you really going to do it this year? I saw you have on your schedule in June, I think. Are you really going to do it? Because I'm thinking and I might come. And I said, look, we don't have any participants for it right now. And if nobody comes, my wife and I will just do it by ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so book your ticket or not. I'm happy if you come, but even if nobody comes, I do it because I need it. I need the time just to introspect, to be quiet, and to find out who I am.
Yes.
This is one thing that I do. The other thing I really need is nature. I love to go out in nature. We go to the watch the sunset every day. We live close to the sea, just 2 miles from here. So we just sit there and get the sunset. We're facing west, so have really nice sunsets.
Yeah.
The other thing I do is I work in the garden, which I need because a lot of the time I'm working with this computer here, writing and doing all sorts of other things, my correspondence and all that. I need, and working with people, but I also need to move my body. And since I'm not the type to sit on a like a bicycle in the basement and drive. I like to be out in the nature. We have about a 1.5 acre farm, small farm. I've got more work than I could possibly do there.
Right.
I love it. I come home all wet, like I can hardly get my clothes on because they're sticking to my body. And I look at my wife and I go, oh, and she says, like this. But the next moment, I go, Yeah, I love it. I love to work in the garden. Hard physical labor, so much fun.
Oh, well, I'm really
And
excited to hear about the meditation camps because really what I was envisioning, because I want to make this up for you, but I was thinking about the patience it takes for what you've described, right? So we always talk about the diligence, and yes, that is a big part, but it also, there's patience that's required because again, people expect like, okay, well, Arjava said meditate, I'm gonna meditate for a week, and I don't know, we have this expectation of whatever, right? So this patience and the longevity and not having an expectation because really each time you sit, who knows what the experience may be like or not. Yeah. And I think when you were describing that, I was thinking of how reading your book about the time you spent with your teacher, and that seems like what's needed now to me. You know, just that ability where people can again just like really be directed to the point, but being held in a space and community, and it's felt and it's experienced and there's guidance and just all the different layers of what that is. And so when I say like, oh, I really want to come to the Reiki dojo, I mean, to be quite honest, it's not that I want to take another Reiki class necessarily.
mm,
I want to come and experience that.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I made a face not because of what you said,
Yeah,
but of course also because of what you said. Yeah? So when I was young, I spent many years in India with Osho, and we had all the time in the world. And we were
right.
sitting every day under his guidance and all that. And I, remembering that, my face goes like, because it was the most incredible time of my life, and I can't reproduce that
Right.
for others. I cannot, and also I don't want to. These are different times, and
Yeah.
I think the times of some wise guru sitting somewhere in front of you and doing what she or he does, maybe maybe in India that still works, but here maybe not.
No.
But what we can do and what we can offer is to spend quality time together.
Yes.
The longer, the better, and to ignite that thirst that you need to be able to have the discipline to sit every day. That's
There is.
really the function,
Yes.
I think, of the teacher,
Yeah.
to light that flame, so that you can then go home like I did
Right.
and do it by yourself and not put it on the end of your bucket list, but actually to do it. And for that, what it needs really is to find a technique that you love.
Mm-hmm.
That is like chocolate, if you like chocolate, or ice cream, or something that you just love, where you just the thought of having a certain kind of ice cream. I'm thinking of one now. I go like, whoa, yeah, like this. And if you find some kind of spiritual discipline, like a meditation that you feel passionate about, like this,
Mm-hmm.
like the ice cream or the chocolate, then you're going to do it at home. But often that needs to be ignited, that longing, for that.
Yes. You know what
Eh,
is so funny to me, Arjava? This, and I always say this about you too. I talk about you a lot, but I always say this because it struck me, and in part, that's what ignited the inner flame in me, right? I'm going to tell you what it is in a second, but that's what I mean because, you know, I notice and I talk to a lot of people that practice all sorts of things. And what tends to happen a lot is people will be very excited to take any modality, whatever it may be, Reiki or anything else. And they'll be very excited to take in the information. They may be excited about the experiences they have, and, you know, but it doesn't necessarily spark the inner flame to go deeper in themselves. It it oftentimes will be, oh, how can I use this externally in a way? And so that's exactly what I mean. Like, how can, I don't know. I just hope this becomes louder. And maybe the meditation camp is exactly what this type of thing is. And I love meditation, so that sounds amazing to me. But one of the things with being a student of yours was your storytelling. And I don't know why. I don't even remember what you said, but you talking about Senju Kanan. I always say this about you, something about the way it wasn't just the story itself, but there's this, there was this emanation from you where the story was felt and understood, even beyond what you were saying. And that lit that flame in me of this curiosity of like, what? So there's a possibility of not just the, oh, nice, yes, I have compassion, but to feel, to like really genuinely feel something like that. That's what really ignited me to be
Mm.
excited about the idea. Let me sit and just witness, not even try anything. But that's what I tell that story about you all the time. So I thank you for that. But yeah, I think you're exactly right. I hope that I think what's going on in the world is igniting people, but I don't know that that ignition, people know what to do with it. And so, yeah,
All these beautiful things that we dream of, peace, love, compassion,
yeah,
whatever, they can't be things that are outside of us.
hmm,
And we, because we cannot long for something that we don't know. You can only long for something that you know. You long for love because you know love.
yeah,
You long for peace because you know peace. And you long for enlightenment because you know it, because you are it. So the question is, how can I let that be? Not how can I reach it? I don't need to reach anything. It's all in here.
hmm,
It's already ready to go.
yeah,
Yeah? So how can I allow that to blossom? And one thing I often do when meditating with people, one time I think I just made that up while we were having a little break. And they said, what we're going to do next time. I said, okay, all right. So think about your most intense, most cherished quality. Close your eyes and then let that develop wherever. Maybe there's a part in the body where that lives, maybe in your chest, in your belly, maybe in your head or wherever. And just let that grow more and more and more and more and more, and then let that flood your whole being. Accelerate that, magnify that. And that's incredible. And you realize that the maybe the quality of the tenderness that you have, or the kindness that you have, or the compassion, suddenly, incredible. Yeah? It's ours. It's
yeah,
ours for the taking. We just don't do it.
yeah,
We always project out, always think, oh, well, she has it, but I don't have it. Or he has it, but his boy is so clever. Or something. No, it's all in here.
hmm,
It's already if you think of God, nature, for me it's the same. Nature or God are not stupid. They don't make inferior models.
yeah,
It doesn't. It makes absolute perfection.
yeah. Wow. Ugh. Okay, so I know a lot has been changing with you. I know in the past, and I know it's still true, you love working with people, like being with people, I should say. You love being with people. Are you planning to do anything online in the future? Like the meditations or things like this, or are you already doing anything like that?
I don't like to do things online.
I know.
Okay, I know it's better than nothing, and since many of us can't meet due to geographical
Right.
distance, but really, I just love people,
I
and
know.
I love to be in the presence of people. I love to be able to touch them, to talk to them,
Yeah.
to hear their voice just next to me. To I just love people. This is the thing, and I don't like the computer. To me, computer is a tool for work. I know it's useful, and I'm using it every day.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I love to sit with people and talk to them, and not necessarily only do work with them or study something or practice something. Well, one of my favorite times in the Reiki groups, actually the breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're not because you're not working, but because you have created such a beautiful atmosphere with the people that there is no separation.
Yeah.
When you're sitting there, you're eating together, you're joking, you're having your tea together. It's just blissfully one, the whole thing. This I like. I like so much. And even though I feel sometimes that the intensity can be quite impressive in
Yeah.
a Zoom conversation, still, I just love to have the people close by.
Was it a maybe? Maybe one day, perhaps. Keep us posted. Never. No.
No, I just don't like it. I don't
Okay.
like, you know.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I will say something silly, yeah? Like telephone sex maybe is nice, yeah?
It's
But
not. Yeah. Well, I have to say, because it was nice once upon a time where you would come to the States quite frequently, in California once a year. It was like clockwork. You were here, same season every year. And yeah, and I know so many people that they dream of being able to sit with you to learn from you and all of these things. And like you say, it's not easy for everyone to, go certain
yeah,
places.
I
Yeah,
know. And I always loved going to the States and working in the States, but recently it's been complicated for
right.
us to visit, and I'm in no mood to experience that. So
No, I understand. I really do understand. But what we do still have access to, one, you still do things, you still travel and you still go other places so people can still learn from you. But you
yeah,
mentioned kind of briefly in the beginning that you are going to put out a more practical Reiki book. So is that going to be more highlighting techniques, going more deep into how we work through the system?
mostly it's going to be like a contemporary treatment guide for illnesses A to Z.
Oh, yes. Nice.
How to deal with, like the, let's say, the Usui handbook and the Hayashi handbook, but
Right.
including all the modern troubles that we have. Yeah? Working on cancer, working on vaccines, or the results of vaccines, or working on corona, or working on whatever, yeah?
Yeah.
Modern civilization illnesses. Yeah?
Right. Yeah.
So it's fun. I think it's really fun. And then, of course, also what kind of attitude would be helpful. So it's not only put your hand here, there, and there, but also what I think is a proper attitude to have when you're treating people. And we already talked about this. I said
Mhm.
a couple of minutes ago that nature doesn't make inferior models. Yeah? We are all the absolute perfect model.
Yeah.
When you look at your clients like that, instead of looking at an illness, things change
I
when
think
you
that's
treat
going to be very useful, especially because of how popular Reiki is now. A lot of people do have clients that are coming for very specific things, on top of, again, it being used a lot here in the States in hospitals and in hospice care. So that'll be really an incredible resource for us. But you
it.
also mentioned that you are doing some creative things as well. So are you still writing more poetry? Can we expect any of that coming out?
Phew, you probably won't believe this, huh? But every once in a while, I think, I don't know if I'll be able to write anything else again. Huh? And I'm looking at myself and I go, come on, you idiot. Are you joking? So even after having published so many books, sometimes there's still a doubt that, or some kind of feeling of there's not enough or there's no more or so. But I'm reflective, so I catch myself, I laugh about myself because I'd also go through creative phases and troughs, yeah, where I just don't have the inspiration to write. Recently, in the last year, I've written a lot, really a lot. So you can expect all sorts of things, more poetry, more. I'm working on a socially critical text at the moment. We're working on that. Um, I started years ago. I started a novel which I've never finished. So someday I should probably finish that. And there's still a whole bunch of projects of poetic text or inspirational text that I haven't had time to put together and weave into a book. One I did many years ago. I'll tell you a little bit about it. We live in Eresos. It's called the village of 1,000 people. The island is called Lesbos, and it's called Lesbos because the Sappho, the ancient poetess, who is considered by some people to be the master of the lesbians. She used to have her school here in this village where we live. And there are some places that people say are associated with her. So one time, years ago, I went to a cliff overlooking the Mediterranean, where she is said to have studied or recited poetry with her students. And I said, okay, baby, talk to me. Come on, talk to me. And then I went home and wrote a book.
Wow.
And there was, I think, 108 recipes for contentment or something was the like working title.
Wow.
And I have that in the computer. I haven't looked at it for years.
Huh.
It's all ready to go. And so there are lots of texts like that
Yeah.
that I might be working on in the future. You never know. The problem with creative writing is that it's a Pandora's box. Once you open that thing, and you know it yourself,
Hmm.
once you open that thing, there is no end to it. Creativity is endless,
It's true.
endless, because somehow you tap into the collective. It's not your stuff. You cannot have an original thought. Somebody has thought that before, but there's this wealth of wisdom and knowledge that is available to all of us. And if you learn how to open yourself up to receiving some of that, then there is no end.
At this leaves me with another question for you before we go, because it's something that, again, I encounter often in this realm. It's so funny because in my mind, I'm thinking, I always think of you as very no nonsense. Like you're very just clear, direct, no nonsense. Um, a lot of people, because they become so in love with the practice and the study, the practice of Reiki, all these things. And it's interesting. Sometimes people almost feel like they're being asked in some way, even though no one's asking them to do this, but themselves, right? Like, it's almost like they lose themselves in it and may forget about or put on the shelf or step away from other aspects of themselves that they enjoy. Like a lot of people put a line in the sand of this idea of being spiritually minded or spiritually focused means you leave other aspects of life and what you truly enjoy in the dust or behind.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
listening to you and knowing, the how much you are so much more than what people may know you for. And but you allow yourself to always still be in relationship with all of these aspects that bring you joy and are just natural to who you are. So could you talk a little bit about that, or what would you say to people who may be making this distinction or thinking that it has to be separate?
I think if you were involved in a spiritual practice with mind that is materialistic, that spiritual practice is worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And on the same note, if you practice something very mundane, cleaning the house, and you do that with devotion and tenderness, that's meditation, that's prayer. Yeah?
Yeah.
So there is no distinction between the mundane and the spiritual. Everything done with awareness, with kindness, with the proper attitude is spiritual work. Everything.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And I will tell you what I'm going to do today at 9:45. We will watch a basketball game. We do every 3 4 days these days because they have some European tournament at the moment. So this is what we watch:
Yeah.
basketball. Nice.
It is nice.
I am such a normal person you cannot imagine, and so simple-minded. Find the joy in everything. This is my main, really, it's my main thing, my main motto. I find joy in everything, whether it's drinking tea or talking to you or watching a basketball game or going to a football game or playing cards or whatever.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it. This is your life. We don't have time to waste.
Yes, I think you've shared a lot today. I'm so thankful again that we get to have these conversations and never know where they're going to go. But there is a lot that you said, I think is great for so many of us to hear again at these times, from the importance of the self-reflection. And you always drop in about the oneness somehow, some way that comes from you and everything that you share. But even to end this on the importance of allowing everything to be joyful. We really need that now. Yeah. So I know I
And
can't keep you all night because it's late for you already. Was it, is it almost 9 o'clock for you?
no, no, it's earlier. It's
Oh,
six.
okay.
It's all right. So maybe one last thing about the joyfulness. The only one who can feel and create joy in your life is you.
Yes.
So make an effort to do it. It's worth it because it's fun. I'm thinking like sometimes how I want to die. Do I want to die and I'm sitting somewhere, laying somewhere, doing something, and looking back at my life and think, oh man, what the disaster that was. I don't want that. I want to be able to look back and say, oh, that was fun. Let's do it again.
Yeah. That's funny you say. I think about that all the time. There's only one way I want to go. Many, many years ago, I went to a meditation retreat, and it was Deepak Chopra used to have a
Mm.
center here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I went to one of the meditation and things that was like a week long. And he told a story about his father, that when his father like decided to pass, basically, that he just meditated out. And that always struck me. I was like, that's how I want to do it. I want to just know like one day this is it and just meditate and leave. That sounds like a good way to go. So I'm glad to know it's a possibility. But
But
oh yeah.
wait, wait, wait with that, okay?
Yes, it's oh no, no, no.
We
I'm
want more time. We want more time with you.
yes. Yes, no, it'll be a long ways out. I want to be here for a lot longer. As crazy as it is, I'm really, really glad to be here, truly. Yeah,
Yeah, still, it's still fun. Yeah,
it
and
is.
of course, all the what's going on globally, the political situation, this too is going to change. Yeah?
Right.
We know that this happens, it comes and goes in waves, and we can be confident that
Can I ask you
sooner or
one
later
last
we'll
thing
learn.
about that?
Yes,
Because a lot of people do get very discouraged. Like, how on earth, I'm sure we all have these moments of like, how is this happening? How on earth, what is going to happen? But also, there's also a point of view of, kind of like the whatever the nastiness of the wound has to come out in order for it to heal type of thing. And again, the potential that with what's going on, there is this aching for a lot of people for more peace. In fact, I don't know if you saw it, but there are these monks here in the United States that are
yes.
walking. Yes, and I believe today they end up in DC, the
Ah,
destination.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
today.
Great. Right.
And people have literally everywhere they've been, people come out to see them, but people are crying just to see an image of peace. Like not even being able to talk, just seeing just an expression of hope, of peace, of this. And I'm like, wow, that tells you a lot about where we're at right now. So I would
Mm.
just want to know like your point of view in terms of as much as a lot may be making us angry and sad and frustrated, all the things, what is the potential of how we can also use this as a way to do some of that work you were talking about of going deeper and start disconnecting the lines.
I'm the same, yeah. I get furious at times. I get very upset. I get frustrated. I want to give up. I think this world is better if it disappears, and the humans are such a pest. I have all these thoughts, same as everybody,
Yeah,
or same as many people. But I also know that the own personal transformation is the ticket.
yeah,
You transform your life. Maybe you cannot transform the political arena of any one country. You cannot. It's not possible. But you can transform your own heart. You can purify your heart. You can make yourself what you really are. Yeah, I was struggling what to say. Make yourself a better person. No, no, no need. But find out what you really are, and then shine that light into all the areas of your life, wherever you go. Yeah? You spread that. Not like a missionary,
yeah,
not at all. Yeah? So when on Saturday I'm going to go to a local football game, I'm not going to sit there and tell people about spirituality or anything, but I have a certain vibe. Yeah?
yeah.
I spread that vibe there. Yeah?
Yes,
So do this, do good. If you feel drawn to doing a peace walk, very good. Good idea. I love that. Very good. We got to do something. Make a difference in your
yeah.
life. in your own way. These guys, they walk good. Maybe
Yeah.
we do something else, but do something. Be
Well,
spread your love, spread your kindness. Next time, when people go to the cash register at the supermarket, I hardly ever see anybody say to the person there, "How are you?
mm,
How are you today? You're right." Huh?
yeah,
Start there. Be kind. Put your kindness around. When people are being treated kindly, they light up. That's
that's
what.
true. You bring to mind, it's like spinning on the head, the idea of a sense of belonging as well. Because a lot of people, I think, especially in such polarizing times, sometimes people lean a certain way because they don't want to feel separate from, or, I get just inherently people like we want to feel a sense of belonging. However, underneath and everything you've been talking about, there's a different experience of what that means rather than trying to belong and fit in these external boxes of right and wrong. There's a different idea or experience of belonging. I think that brings us back to what you're talking about. Just humanity. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as humanity is concerned, we are all family.
Right.
End of the story. That's not a philosophy, it's just a fact. If you could go back far enough, yeah, this is what you get. We're family. We're all a
Mm-hmm.
family. All humans, like a bunch of ants in an ant heap. Yeah? We're a family.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll start acting like that
I hope
more
I hope
because
so.
you do see that. That's an interesting thing of like when times get turbulent, at the same time, you see this uprising of people becoming very communal and very protective of each other and very, even with, their neighbors, their strangers, whomever. So it's an interesting thing that happens at the same time. And hopefully that will also become louder.
I hope so. I hope so. But we
Yeah,
also have to say it and make an effort to
right.
do things together in public and show people that, hey, look, we are something other than the nastiness that is happening out there.
Right. Ugh. Java, I have to say, as always, it's great to see you, but I'm so thankful. I always love our conversations, and I'm glad we don't know where they're going to go. But thank you so much. But if people want to know what it is you are teaching now and how they can come and spend time with you, what is the best way to connect with you?
That's you're entering another complicated conversation. Yeah? So uh, about 2 weeks ago, I realized I had 1,200 and I think 34 unread emails
Oh
in
my
my
gosh.
account. People think that I have this big organization and all
Hmm.
this whole machinery happening, but I'm just myself, just a
Yes.
one man show, and I can't handle it.
Yeah.
So when you ask me how to get in touch with me, I say just send me an email. That may not be the solution, huh?
Yeah.
Because once in a while there's a general amnesty and they all get deleted because I just can't handle it.
Yeah.
Not because I don't want to, I can't. Huh? So look, if you want to do something with me, look at my website. Same, my whole name, frankarjavapetter.com. You find the schedule there, and then send me an email. I have just deleted all those emails, so now is the perfect time to get in touch with me because I'm going to see it.
Perfect. Okay. Well, definitely I'm going to put the website and I would say for anyone, you know, even myself, I'm like, "Ooh, could I go to Greece in June?" But yeah, but look to see what you have coming up and I can tell everyone personally it's incredible just to be in your presence. Learning from you, yes, but like you say, you do have a vibe. And I think that in of itself is part of the teaching. So, yeah, thank you so much. And I hope to see you again sooner than later. Let's not wait so long next time.
Thank you, thank you. See you soon.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you again to Arjava, of course, for coming and having this conversation with me today. As I mentioned in the beginning, I really am thankful for the opportunity to sit and have these conversations with my teachers and share with you. And if you want to learn more about Arjava and his work, you can see where he's traveling nowadays. You can also go work with him at his Reiki dojo in Greece. Go to his website, frankarjavapetter.com. And as we mentioned in the conversation, he has countless books on Reiki, but he's also published books that are books of poetry. He also has a book that came out a few years ago about his time with his teacher Osho. So if you look him up on Amazon, Frank Arjava Petter, you'll find a variety of works that have been published by him. And as he mentioned today, there is even more to come. So thank you again, dear Arjava, for coming to chat with us today. And for all of you, if you want to connect with me, if you have any questions or anything you want to share, you can reach out to me through my website, theenergeticalchemist.com, or follow me on Instagram at Reiki Radio. I thank you all so very much for being here. And remember to always journey in love.